What's good, Joshua Ross? Back at it again with another video. So, we gotta talk about what happened with Brock Lesnar last night. Now, last night, I don't think he was advertised to be on the show, but apparently Michael Cole was going to have an interview or set up an interview with Brock Lesnar. So he started off the show on commentary saying he's about to go back there, meet with Brock Lesnar and do the interview. As Michael Cole is walking up the ramp to, get the interview set up with Brock, Brock's music hit. And that doesn't mean good for anybody that's at ringside. So Brock Lesnar is walking down to Michael Cole. Michael Cole's like, look, bro, I was just about to meet you backstage so we can get this interview going. And Brock wasn't trying to have it. So Brock picks up a grown man and Michael Cole. Michael Cole has a family, he has a kid. I don't know how many children he has, but he has children, people that care about him. He's a grown man. He's a provider for somebody and was carried around the ring like a sack of potatoes. And I know for a fact Michael Cole was having PTSD because if you guys remember way back in the day, I want to say it was after WrestleMania 31 when Seth cashed in on him and Brock was really pissed. Well, he cashed in on Roman Reigns he made it a triple threat match, cashed in on Roman Reigns and walked out as the champion. Brock was pissed, so everybody was catching the beats. The cameraman was catching the beats, and I believe Michael Cole caught an F5 for his troubles. Michael Cole didn't even do anything. He F5'd him so hard, he F5'd him out his shoes. So already Michael Cole is getting PTSD. He's remembering, I don't want to get F5'd out of my shoes. What's happening here? So he places him in the ring, and of course, Michael Cole's about to catch another severe case of the F5. But Corey Graves, the real MVP, came out there like, look, man, hey, just chill, bro. Just chill. You ain't got to do this. Well, since he came out there to help his buddy, he received an F5. Michael Cole disappears. He gets out of there. He left his friend to get packed up. It wasn't really much he could do, but, Corey Graves saved the day by receiving an F5 for his troubles. So he's out. Then security and all these officials, they come out there to try to get Brock to calm down. They're a bunch of useless individuals, bro. I'm telling you, if you work for WWE, they have to have some type of clause in their contract saying there's a good chance you get packed up by a wrestler and our officials are not competent enough to actually save you. So he scares off everybody out the ring. As they're dragging Corey Graves' lifeless body, they just leave him in the ring. Leave him in the ring. Brock Lesnar picks him up again, hits him with another F5 just because he could. Then he goes to the cameraman, and I know the cameraman was like, please, not me. He goes to the camera, and he's talking directly to John like, hey, John, tomorrow is D-Day, boy, and I'm going to beat you up. There's going to be blood, which I hope it is. But nevertheless, we still really don't have no real indication other than he just doesn't like John Cena. I think they had some little vignette or video package of him saying, oh, he wants to have a retirement run. Fuck your retirement run, buddy. I just want to beat you up. So there we go. So after the chaos, after Corey Graves was packed up and sent to the upper room via 2 F5s, after, they tried to get everything, under control, you see Brock Lesnar walking backstage. Now, you're thinking, is someone else going to face the wrath of the F5? No. He walks right into Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman is there with Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed. And you're trying to figure out, trying to test the temperature of the room. Like, how's this going to go out? They have history. And, Paul Heyman has sided with Roman the last time they really interacted. Honestly, the last time they really interacted that I can think of, my boy Paul Heyman ate a F5 through a table at that year's SummerSlam against Roman Reigns in that last man standing match. So you would think maybe things are not on the up and up because, Paul is protected, got Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker with him. But no, Brock Lesnar says, hey, we need to talk. And essentially shakes his hand and walks off. I was like, uh-oh. What does that mean? What implications do that mean we need to talk? And they got a lot of people speculating. A lot of people are starting to get their mind running like, how is this going to play out? We know Seth Rollins has had a not so great history with Brock Lesnar. How is this going to play out? And I think a lot of people are coming up with the idea, and most likely that's where they're leaning towards, is Survivor Series War Games. I think that's where they're leaning towards, the team of the Vision and whoever else is going to be involved with that. And then obviously whoever's going to be on Roman's side. And what's going to be crazy about this is I do think there's going to be some type of deal struck up. You know, Paul Heyman's good with coming up with deals and favors. I think there's going to be some type of deal struck up where Brock Lesnar is going to be on the side of Seth Rollins and his group, Division, obviously because Paul Heyman facilitated it. Now, it's going to be interesting because I'm filming this before WrestlePalooza. What's going to happen with John Cena and Brock Lesnar? Because now, after that interaction, I don't think this is a one and done situation with these guys. I don't. We still have a few days left with John Cena. I don't think this is a one and done situation. I'm leaning still towards John Cena wins, but I do think maybe Brock does, get involved at some point for War Games, and Brock will have his, I think Brock will have a way to get at John Cena again, because I can see John Cena being on the team with Roman, which honestly, that would actually be pretty interesting. That would. Having John Cena team up with Roman because Brock Lesnar's involved, I think that would actually be pretty interesting. Them teaming up, being on the same side. Last time we've seen them interact, they still, Roman was, hitting them with the, John, you're just like missionary, just the same thing over and over. Like, I like their back and forth they had a few years ago. Now it's going to be interesting to see them be on the same page. I can see CM Punk. It makes sense for CM Punk to be involved in this match as well, because CM Punk has history with Paul, has history with Seth, and has history with Brock Lesnar. A lot of these individuals, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, John Cena, all have history with Brock Lesnar in one form or fashion. So that can be the direction they're heading. I do think you add Jacob Fatu because they're not doing nothing with this guy. So you need to add him into the mix. I think that would be good to set up the future Jacob Fatu, Braun Breaker. That's what they want. So, and then I don't know if you had Jay, you had Jimmy, who else? Some people are speculating Drew on one end and then Cody on the other end. They could do that. I don't know. But it does seem as if Brock Lesnar, shaking Paul Heyman's hand and saying we need to talk, it does seem like this may be the route that they're going for Survivor Series, to have Brock Lesnar on their team at Survivor Series for War Games, or have him in his back pocket for that particular situation. And I don't think this is a one and done with John Cena. Granted, we're not going to get another match with John Cena and Brock, but it may be something of John Cena being on Team Roman's side and Brock being on Team Seth's side, and they have that interaction there. So I don't know, but I'm thinking that's where they may be heading. So I want to ask y'all the question down below. Do y'all think this is setting up the War Games Survivor Series match? Do y'all think this situation, this interaction with Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar is going to lead to Brock Lesnar joining Seth Rollins' Division crew in Survivor Series War Games, if they do set it up like that? Or do y'all think it's a favor to be set up later down the line, maybe closer to WrestleMania season? Y'all let me know down below. But I appreciate all the love and support you guys have shown on the channel. Road to 150K. Appreciate y'all kicking it with me. See you on the next one. Peace.